What is happening, home glitches? Welcome back to the channel. I've got some fun stuff for you. I wanted to talk again about transitions. I know I've been kind of avoiding it, and the reason being is because, quite frankly, I was pretty happy with my transitions set up on my stream for quite a while. A little bit ago, I went ahead and made a really fun video about how to do like a Zoom style transition, which I haven't really seen yet on Twitch, and so I wanted to go ahead and stage that one up and see if I can do even something a little bit more next level. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. Hey, thanks for joining us here on my YouTube channel. Here's where we look at anything to do to help you out with your stream. Now, whether that's visual, audio, or brand, I'm trying to help you out as best as I can. If you haven't done so already, make sure you're following me here on the YouTube side of thing. I stream quite often, all the links everywhere it can be. And I've just started redoing like my own little private Discord. So if you want to jump in there, I've got some free downloadables, including some stuff that I'm using in this particular video to get myself set up. You're welcome to it. If you want to use it, you're welcome to have at it. Today we're going to be talking about how to do a double style zoom transition. That's zooming the current scene down to a smaller set, switching it out and bringing in a new scene and zooming in it to full screen. That's the kind of the plan, and I think it's kind of fun next level stuff. There are a little bit of prerequisites that I use in this particular video. They're all things that I've talked about plugins before. I would recommend also checking out my last zoom transition video, as we're going to be using the downstream keyer mechanism. It's technically optional. You can use a series of nested scenes if that's really what you want to do. But this just makes more sense for me because I'm trying to save my PC power and only having so many things happening at once. So I thought this was a fun way to do it. I know there's a lot of ways to do similar things. However, it's up to you. I'm just going to show you how I did it. Other things that I used in this one, I did use the Move Transition plugin, which I've made videos about before. And I also believe I think it's called Special Effects plugin, the 3D Transform, which will let me get like perspective and things like that on some assets. So all those, I'm going to try to keep links for you down below. And you need to download those plugins and get them started. And also check out the last video so you're not lost. Other than that, let's get straight over here and start setting it up, or at least showing you how I set it up. Alright, so if you checked out our last video, you probably won't be too far lost. There's a lot of things that I do that's going to be a little bit, I don't want to say extra, but because I'm doing mine my certain way, there's some things that you might do differently, you know, with filters and moves and animations and stuff, because it depends on the assets that you use. But I'll tell you what I did so you can kind of get an idea and you can follow along or take some other steps. The first thing you're going to want to do is make sure your downstream keyer is set up. So I have my downstream keyer on. If you don't know what we're talking about, go check out my last video. And it's set to that transitions scene, which I'll get to in just a second. I also created a bunch of scene collection scenes. I know, scenes within a scene. I'm going to say scene a lot this video, I bet. So I have like scene collection 2 here. And it just has all of my scenes, like my game scene, my chat screen, my BRB screen. We'll bring in, and I'll just turn on one of them. We'll do my my chat screen here, one of my chat screens. And the cool thing about this is now I can add more of these guys in here, and just with a few lines of code to LioranBoard, I can kind of keep it all in one spot and things. So that's the goal. And then I also have the scene collection 1 over here. It's exactly the same. In this one, I'm going to turn on my BRB screen. And it's just going to have that BRB there. It's actually its own scene as well. And the idea here is, because we are manipulating 2 scenes potentially simultaneously, although I'm having mine toggle off and on so they're not too much on the screen at one spot. Basically, one of these collections is going to be set as my current scene that is fading away or animating off the screen. And then the other collection of scenes is going to basically be my new scene coming into the actual broadcast and then zooming to full. So we are going to have to set up a couple of things in LioranBoard, including a variable that identifies what scene that we're on. Or you could do it the other way, which one you want to go to. But I think it's easier just to having a variable set up to whatever thing we have currently on, so we can toggle that going forward. Okay, let's go show you the actual transition screen. Well, a little bit different than last time. You won't be able to see most of these things. Let me go ahead and bring the filters down to small and small. Boom, boom. And now I'm going to bring my swing displays. I'm going to put them on looping and toggle these on so you can kind of see the idea. Even though they're going to be not necessarily looking like this when we go live, because it's going to start off differently. And the idea is this bottom one here is going to be my current scene that I'm fading, that I'm transitioning from, and this top one is going to be the scene that I'm transitioning to. And basically now we need to use LioranBoard to do some move values for us, some filter manipulation, and just timing and for us, and then we can basically scene switch while these things are in the mix. That's the idea. So kind of the first thing that we'll do, you'll want to make up some move source transitions underneath here. I already have it made. And we again check out my last video and you'll see what I'm talking about. So if I have this one starting off big, I know that it's overlaid, so you normally won't see this other one over there. The idea is it will go small, and then it will animate off of the screen, and then right about the time that it animates off the screen, the top one will animate on the screen because I just toggled it on. And then we're going to go large with the other one. And then it will actually take over the scene and then scene switch. And that's kind of the goal for us. So I'll show you what I did in LioranBoard. It's super, I don't want to say super complicated. I don't want to say intimidating, but it's not like day one stuff. So let's go over the LioranBoard and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm changing my stream deck quite a bit right now because it's time to overhaul. It's spring clean time, guys. If you have some stuff that's not getting fired off and not getting used, pull it out, put something new in there, and that's kind of what I'm doing with mine. All these little test boxes is me basically trying to set this whole video up for you. And I think I've got it right about where I want it. I got a couple more things I want to add, and then we'll go from there. And then some of these other buttons I can get rid of because some of my other transitions are setup is no longer going to be applicable. So let me show you this first set here, and I'll give you an idea. So the very first thing we want to do is turn on so say I'm in my gaming screen. I want to go to the downstream here through the scene collection, and I say, hey, I need to turn on my gaming screen on top of it. And so that's kind of what this is doing. It's asking, hey, what scene are you on? If I'm on scene, so I assigned a variable to every single scene. So the BRB screen is scene 1, for example. So if I'm on the BRB screen and I'm going to set that to 1, if I recognize it, then I'm going to go to the scene collection 2 and turn on BRB again. So I'm going to actually have 2 scenes on top of each other at that point. And that's what all these are. If you scroll down, there's quite a few identifying, and depending on how many scenes you're going to use with this is how many you're going to need for it. So if I have 50 screen scenes, it's going to go 50 times down. So yours, again, might vary because maybe you have 5. I have currently 9 that are part of my main broadcast. And I've taken a couple of them out, and I got a couple more I need to add back in. Afterwards, we need to do a scene switch. Ooh, that one's missing it. So that scene switch is going to go straight to... Oh, no, it's right here. I don't know what that line could go away. That's weird. Hey, I fixed something on the fly. Woo! So the next thing we need to do is actually scene switch to that transition scene. You kind of don't need to, but if you don't, then you're going to have 3 scenes on top of each other, and your PC is going to be like, help me, please. So I actually switched to the transition scene, so while we're actually transitioning, we're actually in another scene, and that will help save a little bit of PC power. And then what we need to do is animate that first block. So that's the one that starts off zoomed in. What we're going to do is turn on the actual TV frame itself. Then we're going to toggle our filter change visibility of the animation to make it small. And then I have another one where I make it flat, and that's something I didn't really show you on the last one. Basically, I used a move value source, and I changed the V value to squish it. And you'll see when we do our final example, you'll see the actually, it looks like it's turning with the TV, which is a really cool effect. Then I activate that second TV set, and that is the new one coming on. And that new one comes on. Then I animate it to go from small to large, and then I go ahead and make it that flat from a flatness to norm, if that makes sense. So it's normally so you can see it, and you'll see it twist when it happens. Here's where I actually toggle the scene that I want to go to. So I'm going to make a new one for each of these. Like if I'm going to the chatting screen, I'm going to at the very end, I'm going to scene switch to the chatting scene. I need to turn on the chatting scene, and then I need to also, at the very end of the whole thing, that's why it's at 9 seconds, change the variable, update that S variable to 4 in this case, because all of this is associated with my chatting scene, and that way I'm set up for the next trigger. Okay. Then after that, honestly, it's just reset, which is a lot of reset here. Basically everything in the opposite order. So if I shrunk one of the video of my TV switch or whatever, now I need to make it big, and vice versa for the other one. And then same thing with the flatness, and you go from flat to normal, and then normal to flat. I know, it's just toggling the other toggle and everything that's in there. All right, and then I have to turn off every single scene. And on the scene collection 1 and scene collection 2, and you can see I did this at different times, because if I did it all at the end, again, I would have more than one scene going at a time. It's just really intense for the PC. So I have one turned off earlier at 5.5 seconds. That's the first TV, and then one coming at 9.5 seconds. That's the second TV, basically after the transition. Okay, and then this one down here is at the very bottom. I just have some extra functionality for me. Again, if I'm going to, like my BRB screen, I'm going to turn off my microphone, and then I'm going to turn my music up to my higher channel music, you know. And so this is just for me, and then I also press this other button, which makes my backgrounds change. So I have different backgrounds that kind of randomly turn around and stuff like that. So this is all kind of optional, and it's up to you if you want to do something extra like that. But I find that I like different levels of volume to pay based on what scene I'm on. On my starting scene, for example, I don't have my microphone on. That's just like another thing that I have as a preference for me. Okay, so let's go ahead and test it, and I'll show you kind of what I'm talking about. Okay, so I forgot I had to do a little cut there because I forgot we have to turn our loops back off. So underneath here, underneath properties, I pretty much set up where it was sitting up there on the loop. So I unchecked the loop. I also unchecked this close file when active, and that will just kind of help with load times in my case, because my computer's kind of keeping these swing animations kind of set up to being already preloaded, so it should load up instantaneously. And now I think we're good for a little bit of a test. So we can just go in here, and I'm gonna click the first one. I'll try to give you as much. Might have to do 1 or 2 because I'm already on one scene here. Let's see what happens there. So zooming on out, bringing up the chat Overwatch screen, and it resets. And let's go ahead and go to, I guess, our BRP screen. So that one zooms out, and it brings up our BRP screen. So it looks like we're pretty good on that front. Couple other things I have to do is I basically have to make sure each of these buttons are set up for each of my scenes. So you would do the same, basically just that variable and scene selection part. And I think that's it for the video. That's kind of the concept, that's the idea, and that's kind of how I set mine up. If you have any questions, feel free to DM me. I'll see you glitches next time. Be safe. They're on the right.
Yeah, once you see them get to the center, open.
There's one kind of center right now.
Knocked. And finished. I got silence.
Mastiff!